Yeah, better.
So for our US meetings also we use a lot of WebEx meetings and those stuff. GoToMeeting is something we prefer GoToMeetings.
Yes, absolutely. Can you put the
WebEx is a good platform.
Yeah.
Is it possible to put the collar mic on your collar somewhere? Mr. Banerjee,
Yeah.
is it possible to put the mic on your collar somewhere? Somewhere near the collar, because otherwise you have to hold the mic for a long time when you are speaking.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, this is just the earplug, and then I've got it fitted into my computer. Can you hear me clearly, or are you
Yeah,
getting some sound?
we can hear it clearly. Yes.
Well, actually, I'm getting some echo and some not an echo, a lot of sound.
Uh,
So maybe what I'll request is once we go on talking, so whoever is not talking, can they please be on mute?
yes, yes. I think that will be better. Mr. Mitro, Chandrajit Mitro, please tell the participants to do it. Okay, to be on mute when the discussion is going on. Okay. You are not audible, Mr. Mitro. You are not audible. You are not audible. Please unmute yourself.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, yeah. Now you're audible. Yes, absolutely.
So what about I've had the privilege of talking to Pinaki a little while back. So Chandrajit, what is your you are also associated with this?
Yes, Mr. Banerjee, I am associated with Calcutta Business School since quite some time now.
Okay.
So I head the business development as well as the strategic planning, the vertical of this. So what I do, I try to arrange and conduct these kind of webinars, go to the colleges, speak to different people in the market, and try to, have student forums on and off. And then we, of course, get the student data and then start calling. So I look into the calling part of it. How do we sometimes invite the students and the professors and other faculties to the premises, and also take them through a virtual tour or a physical tour, and then try to counsel them. So that's what I and my team do.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Chandrajit, we can start it now. It's 5
We
on.
can start?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
5. So I think people have joined, and good evening, everyone, whoever has joined, and we are expecting some more, invitees to join in. So good evening from Calcutta Business School, and once again we are here with another very, very innovative webinar under the Sikshayatan Foundation. So before I welcome each and every faculty, student members, and senior members, senior committee members, as well as Team CBS. Before we get into the webinar today, which is going to be another innovative exercise, as we have been doing over the last many months now, to address the students, their needs, their aspirations. Let me introduce Calcutta Business School, not only Calcutta Business School and the Sikshayatan Foundation under which the Calcutta Business School exists. It is important to know that Sikshayatan Foundation today completes more than a century. In 2020, we completed our 100 years, and we have just passed that last year, though it was a year of pandemic. But for Sikshayatan Foundation, which was established in 1920, we completed a centenary. So with Sikshayatan Foundation, let me tell you, Sikshayatan Foundation is the apex body of the following educational institutions, namely Marwari Balika Vidyalaya, which essentially was established in 1920, Sri Sikshayatan School, which was established in 1954, Sri Sikshayatan College in 1955, and thereafter the last one, Calcutta Business School, which was established in 2008. So we are on the 13th year of the existence of Calcutta Business School. To talk about Calcutta Business School, it is one of the top AICTE approved autonomous management institutes in the eastern region of India. It provides a 2-year full-time postgraduate diploma in management and management development programs. Apart from the academic excellence, the education institutions have excellent domains of co-curricular activities. CBS also has international exchange programs from time to time, and the business school has regular activities like seminars and workshops in different areas apart from academics. The business school also organizes excellent placement for its students. This business school is very, very well known because of four pivotal areas: best management faculty, one of the best infrastructure, the affordability and ease of payment for the students, as well as the placement, which is, we almost promise about 100% placement, and that's what we've been doing over the last few years. So that's about Calcutta Business School. So now we have two very eminent speakers this evening for all of you. I welcome Mr. Surajit Banerjee, who is going to be our key speaker. Let me have a brief introduction of his. Surajit is a Commerce Honours graduate from Calcutta University with school and colleges from St. Xavier's College. He is also a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. After qualifying as a chartered accountant, Surajit has worked in companies such as BOC India, which was earlier known as Indian Oxygen, CSC and GEC. Subsequently, in 1999, he was a part of a startup company called FiTech, which is product-based company focused in the financial technology solutions. FiTech was leading technology solutions in wealth management, global family office GFO, and alternative investments. It has continued its growth through innovation, partnerships, and acquisitions. It has a strong 350-person team of professionals focused on creating new products and solutions. So Surajit leads one of the verticals of the company, the alternative investments technology solutions known as HedgeTech. He is involved in performing complex business requirement analysis and for financial software product development. Since 2000, he has led the system analysis, design, rollout, and continuing enhancement of the HedgeTech partnership accounting system. Currently, over 2,000 hedge funds are on the HedgeTech platform, direct and indirect through administrators with assets over $900 billion. Surajit is widely traveled across various customer and partner sites in the US and Europe. Before we go forward with our other speaker for the evening, let me also welcome the gracious presence of our Secretary General, Mrs. Bratuti Bhattacharya, as well as our very senior management member, Mr. Saurav Ghosh. Thank you very much, sirs and ma'am, for joining us. We now go to the other speaker, who will also be a moderator for this webinar, and he's none other than our very honored professor, Dr. Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya, who is an associate professor, marketing and faculty in charge entrepreneurship cell, Calcutta Business School. Dr. Bhattacharya obtained his PhD in business management in the marketing area from the University of Calcutta and Masters in Business Administration from the University of Burdwan. Prior to this, he had obtained a bachelor's degree in science and honors in chemistry from the University of Calcutta. He has 20 years of experience as an academician, trainer, and researcher in different institutes across the country. Prior to joining academics in 2001, Dr. Bhattacharya has served for 10 years in various industries of repute in Kolkata and Mumbai in the areas of financial services and information and technology. Prior to joining CBS, the Calcutta Business School, Dr. Bhattacharya was the Dean Academics with Doon Business School, Dehradun, IBS Kolkata, and Dehradun under the ICFI University, Dehradun, and other institutes of repute as well. As an academician, he has several research papers, case study to his credit in reputed national and international journals. He has conducted a number of MDPs and FDPs. His research interest includes emerging concepts in consumer behavior, ethical issues in services, marketing practices, customer valuation involvement, perceptual branding, and green marketing. He was a member board of studies, Center of Management and Economic Studies, UPES, Dehradun. He is also empaneled with the MSME Government of India as a visiting faculty under the ESTP scheme. Currently, he is an empaneled reviewer in international journals like SAGE and also a member of the editorial board MERC's Global International Journal of Management. He is empaneled as a supervisor or the joint supervisor for the PhD program in management with the Calcutta University, the ICFI University Jharkhand, AIMA, AMU, Macau, to name a few, and has successfully guided students for PhD. He has also been appointed by the Gujarat Technical University as an external examiner for evaluating theses and panel member for final Viva was examination of PhD scholars. Currently, he is also officiating as the faculty in charge entrepreneurship cell. So that's about our key speakers for the evening. Thank you very much for joining us. And now I hand it over to Dr. Bhattacharya to take this forward and make this webinar a very interesting one. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Chandrajit Mitra, for your extended speech and introduction to all the members out here. I welcome Mr. Banerjee on behalf of Calcutta Business School, Mrs. Bhattati Bhattacharya ma'am, Mr. Saurav Ghosh sir, and others who are there, the students, my fellow students, colleagues, to attend this webinar titled as the Entrepreneur Guide to Overcoming Fear and Getting Started. Let me just tell you, I just spoke to Mr. Banerjee some time back before we started this, and I came to know from him that he has, he took it in a different tone when he started this entrepreneurship. So I would like to ask him certain questions which will be on a question answer module. And the first question which I would like to ask him is why he became an entrepreneur, leaving all those, the blue organizations, or as we call it. Now, why did he live that life and started to become as an entrepreneur? Mr. Banerjee, please.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, especially to Mrs. Bhattati Bhattacharya, Mr. Saurav Ghosh, Dr. Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya, Mr. Chandrajit Mitra, and friends. So thank you, Pinaki, for bringing this up. So essentially what I was thinking of doing is, Pinaki, did you want me to answer question-wise, or did you want me to know all the questions and I can go through it one by one?
No,
so
we'll go one by one. That will be better.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll carry on, right? And then we'll do it. Okay.
Okay.
And tell me when to present. Surjit, tell me when to present it or when to put it. Okay. Accordingly,
Yes.
I'll do it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to be speaking to you, to be invited to your institute as a guest speaker for your MBA students program. It's always a pleasure to be with young people and to discuss as to what we want to do in life, and especially in this professional world. And again, Dr. Pinaki Bhattacharya has asked me to speak certain words, certain few things about my journey in life. So let me start, and what I'd like to do is just say that, ordinary men, actually ordinary people, can make it in their professional lives. I think that's been the motto for me. That's been the thought process for me. So as a chartered accountant, I passed my chartered accountancy in 1987, a couple of, maybe 33 years back. My first job, very short period, was in Tisco, Jamshedpur, and then that was a princely salary of 1,800 rupees. As a management grade officer. After that, I got a job in GC. Then I moved to CSC and BOC. Now, those days, when I joined CSC was a lovely job. I was well settled. I was doing okay. And those days, as a young officer, we would get free petrol and, free lunch. And world was absolutely settled for me. Everything was settled. So I would come back home and they made me a member of one of the clubs for playing tennis. In fact, all the officers were entitled to go and play tennis. So world was absolutely, everything was done. Then came up, then I started looking around. After a couple of years in CSC, I joined BOC. And this is where actually I started picking up, and I had to work late hours to pick up for all the work, because at a lateral, when you are joining after a couple of years of experience, you have to cope up with the industry, what the industry demands, what the company demands. And I used to work pretty late those days and try to cover up as much as possible. Now, and again, I joined the Treasury Department in BOC, and again, my responsibilities were mainly onto fund management. And as we went on, I was doing okay. And then after a couple of years, actually 2-3 years, I got a big bonus from the company. Now that's the turning point. So what happened is I joined all these companies. I worked for all these companies and I was doing okay. It's not that I had a very good time with all these companies, because it's not that you get good bosses every time. Sometimes you get good bosses, sometimes you do not get so good bosses, and sometimes you think your boss has not been very kind to you. So, those have been my experiences. And again, I'm sure as you go out to the industry, you will see that it's not that you're going to get the best of the world every time. Slowly, of course, what we thought was that we had to, and all these years while I was working, and again, 12 years, this is just from the date 87 November I passed. So 88 January, actually, the results came out and I started working from them through till 1990, 99, actually, 99, 2000. So those 12 years I've been working in different companies, but every time, I wanted to do something. We wanted to do something on our own, believe me. And those days, just doing something without any idea. So usually what happens is, with the weekends, I would meet up with my friends, with known acquaintances, and think about doing businesses, maybe doing as low business as a sari business or doing belt business or whatever. But then every time I thought of doing this, we thought of doing this, we thought that, it came to a grinding halt. Because one question that came up to our mind is, what value addition am I going to bring to the business? There is no entry barrier, right? So if I was to make belt, or if I was to sell leather belts and export them, what is the value addition that I'm doing? I've been qualified, I've done something on my own, the educational qualification and the experience that I've gathered over the last 12 years is not helping me anyway. And there is no entry barrier to this. So that is something that, was always at the back of our minds. So then, of course, in 1999, an NRI, he approached me and he said, he was working in one of the big banks in the US, and he said that he wanted to set up a software company, and he said, are you willing to leave your job? Now you can understand that I was working in BOC. I was relatively well placed at like 35 years was my age around that time, 34, 35. I'd done well. I got a big bonus from the company. And suddenly to leave a company, a cushy job like this was a big, decision process for me. Because what happened was my wife, my mother, they thought that I'd gone mad, essentially, because, I had a separate office to myself and I was doing well. Suddenly, why would you leave a job where there is nothing, there are no guarantees as to what was going to happen tomorrow. I still remember when I went to HR and I said that I was going to resign. They were really taken aback because, I had just got my bonus and I thought I got one of the really big bonus from the company, and, I was doing well. So finally, I made it to the managing director's office, and he said, Surajit, why are you leaving? What is it that the company is not being able to offer to you? I said, no, sir, I just want to leave. Then he said, I know I'm not supposed to ask you this, but where are you going? Are you going to stay in Calcutta or are you going outside Calcutta? I said, no, sir, I'll stay in Calcutta. I said, okay, very good. So what, are you joining any company, big company? I said, no. I proposed to set up a new company. And that was it. And again, so those were the days. So what we did was we set up the company, and then after leaving the company, in BOC, we had our office. We started a small office of 250 square feet. I repeat, 250 square feet was our office space in 1999 December. I left the company on end of November, and a small little office where I did not have any place to sit. There were people, a couple of people together. We didn't have the money to buy computers. We didn't have the money to buy air conditioners. Everything was on hire because we thought we will go by the month. So after 6 months or after 3 months, maybe if the business doesn't survive, we'll go back and start working again in another company. So that was the mindset with which we started this operation. So again, to answer your question, Dr. Bhattacharya, why did I leave? There was this continuous appetite inside me, and again, with the with my other partner that we had, that we wanted to do something on our own. We were doing okay in the corporate world, but we wanted to do, and that was something, I thought that I had the confidence that given an opportunity, I will be able to succeed. We will be able to succeed. So with that confidence in mind, with that confidence in ourselves, we started. But of course, the journey was very rough. And maybe I'll tell you what the journey is, because initially, as you would understand, working in a big reputed company, looking after the treasury operations, I used to work with the different banks. Like those days, it was ANC at Greenlays or Standard Chartered, some of these bigger banks, and the senior managers of the banks would come and try to take me out for dinner or something. But when we left the company, and when I went and visited them, they said, "Would you prefer to have a cup of tea?" Believe me, the world was falling down. The skies were falling down on me, because I did not expect this kind of thing coming down on us. I thought, I could just walk into anybody's office and I said, "Look, I want to do this, I want to do this," but with essentially no background, no financial strength at all. No one was willing to buy us at this point in time. So we struggled. So again, so that was the starting point.
Okay, now your journey started in 1987, went to started with Tisco, then to CAC, then to BOC, and in 1999 December, when you decided that you will leave and you thought of starting a new setup, right? I mean, you definitely had something in your mind, right? A fire in your belly, which actually prompted you might be to do something different, right? Surajit, as you know, as I was discussing with you when I spoke to you some time back, that you are, senior to some of my friends, and that way. So we have known each other that way also as well, right? We came to know that also as well. Now, during that time, you had teething problems probably. I understand you had problems starting the right as an entrepreneur, right? You had different types of problems. Now, the students who would, when I teach entrepreneurship in my class, I find that many of the students, who want to be entrepreneurs today, right? They ask me this question, or I explain them that way, that whatever knowledge I do have, whatever experience I do have, right? That how it is different for them. It's not an easy ball game for them, right?
Right.
So now, with you as an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur in the market today, right? Will you kindly share your ideas, your views, the passion which you had to be successful as an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. Thank you. See, I would think, and again, this is a very personal view, right? So I would think that there are a couple of things that anybody who's thinking of doing business on his own or wants to be an entrepreneur, there are a couple of things that he or she has to possess. One is clarity of thought. You must be very clear in what you're doing. There must be an analytical ability. I mean, look, I'm not opening up a ration shop where there is no, analytical skills. But yeah, so if you're doing something in a professional world, you must have an analytical ability. Then the third thing, which is, I guess, very important, a good and effective communication skills. I must be able to connect with people. I may like someone, I may not like someone, but at the end of the day, I will have to connect with people. That's key. And then, of course, I guess everyone in today's world does hard work. So hard work is something that you have to do. Believe me, when we started this in 2000, so just a little bit on this, when we started with 250 square feet and we wanted to go on taking rent from one of the landlords in South Calcutta who was politically very well connected. Actually, he was a relative of the ex-chief minister. And he looked at me and said, "I think you look like a fly-by-night operator. How can you pay us rent?" So those days, they used to take security deposit for 3 months. So this gentleman tells me, "You have to pay security deposit for 12 months because you might be a fly-by-night operator. You can't pay rent." So we started with that. 2 years down the line, we had taken 4,000 square feet of office space. We were just taking up those different floors of the building that he had made. And then, of course, from 2004, we moved from 4,000 to 8,000 square feet in Salt Lake Sector 5, and now we moved to a space of 40,000 square feet. So that's how the progress has been. And again, do I say that everything has been because of myself or the gentleman that I work with? No. There's a bit of luck that I would definitely say. But again, certain things have to be a part of you. Now, and again, I'll give you specific examples like, opportunity, the first thing is, what is it that an entrepreneur should do? What is it that an individual should do? Firstly, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to develop a strategy. What are you going to do? So I'll give you an example. In 1999, if you will remember, or many of you all might be just born around that time, considering that you all are just graduates, 1999, 2000, we had this problem of Y2K, okay, like 2000, and then most of the computer professionals were joining companies as TCS, Wipros of the world because of addressing Y2K problems. And we started around that time. So it was a big challenge for us as to what were we going to do. Now, I haven't told you as to what we did, actually. So, essentially how the business started was that Northern Trust Bank had an old DOS-based system. So they wanted to bring it to a Windows platform. So it's pretty much extensive work that was there. Now, the gentleman that I work with, he had a business knowledge on that. And Northern thought that you guys are just working out of the garage. So why would a bank like Northern Trust come and join hands with a company called Phytech? Phytech was just nowhere. It was just a setup company, right? It was a startup company. So why would they come to us? We said, we know the business. We know we will do it for you. They said, okay, fair enough. You do it for us, but what's the guarantee that you'll be able to deliver? We said, we cannot guarantee you because we cannot give you a balance sheet. There's no balance sheet. There's nothing, no assets that we can show you. But we can tell you one thing. You pay us on a month-by-month basis. Every month, see what we are delivering. And after that, you take a decision whether we are progressing as per your satisfaction or not. So that's how we faced. And then again, one of the things was, so initially, when we set up this software company, look, we had an option of being a product company or working for different companies for project work. Now, we knew that if we wanted to do project work, we will have to hire a whole lot of people, right? So we have to hire hundreds of people. And we didn't have a balance sheet to do that. Nobody was going to join us. It would be very difficult to pay them outright. So what do? We moved away from project work. We moved into a product line. So we thought that if we could develop a product, a software product, and work on it, and if there is a market for this, we'd like to customize this and sell that product. That might be better off instead of having an army of people, which will never be able to do it. So that's how, first of all, I would think that we need to develop a strategy. Even if I'm entering into any sort of business, any business, the first thing that I need to do is to develop a strategy. Then, of course, once we've done this, then there has to be a vision. Like, entrepreneur must convey the vision and strategy to his employees, to his or her employees, because what happens is, unless you get the goodwill, unless you can bring your people together, you'll never be able to succeed. Of course, you can do a trading business, but unless, if you want to set up something, you've got the vision, you want to do something, and you've hired maybe 2 people, maybe 3 people, maybe 4 people, I don't know, X number of people. What you have to do is you have to sit with them, explain to them that, look, this is the business, this is what we are going to do. If we can achieve this, we all will share the benefits. Unless you are able to do that, you do not buy the confidence of your people, and that's key to business success. Key to business success is that you must get the backing of your employees. I would call them, and believe me, if you come to our office, you'll see everybody calls me Dada. It's like a family, because every time they don't call me sir. There's no sir here in this company. It's just that it works as a family, which we think is key to our success story all these years. So I can go to anyone and say that you have to work 16 hours. as an office senior, I can always do that, but I don't have to say that. Even if I go home, somebody's working for 16 hours a day because he or she understands there's a commitment to the client. So there's just one, politics that we have to do. That's with the client. Otherwise, internal, there's nothing. It's just an open thing, and everybody's working for the same common cause.
Okay.
So my second point that I would convey is we should convey our vision and strategy to our employees.
Okay.
Thirdly, I think a business leader must be able to make business plans and models that will cover finance and marketing. So unless you know what your financial strength is, unless you know which market you're going, you won't be able to start a business. So these are key essential points. And again, I know in your textbooks and all your teachers have been saying this over and over again, but this is just a repetition of what is essential for any business startup or any business for that instance. Finance and marketing are the two key factors which will play heavily on a day-to-day basis. Then again, one of the things again, people say, I want to do business. And, that individual is very good. This individual is very good. So it may be 2-3 relatives. It may be 2-3 good friends, very good friends. They socialize over the weekend, just meet quite frequently, talk on the phone, whatever, and they want to do business. Now, the problem is that business is going to be very difficult to sustain. I'll tell you why. Unless you can do business with people that bring value to the table. You have to bring value to the table. You just cannot arbitrarily say, I like that individual, so he is going to be my partner. I like that individual, he's going to be my partner. No, you cannot do that. You have to make an assessment that what value addition is this individual bringing on the table for him or her to be associated together. That's very important. Otherwise, it's never going to fly. There's always going to be, so somebody who has got deep pockets, a financier comes in, he's bringing money to the table. Somebody who's on the marketing side brings marketing skills, and somebody who's of course good on the professional side as maybe an accountant or maybe a finance individual, he brings that expertise on the table. So, and again, one of the other things that I think our secret has been that whenever any of these partners takes a decision, like assume somebody takes a decision in the US, it's not going to get challenged. We always follow that, okay, fair enough, someone's taken a decision. Maybe he or she has, rightfully thought through this and taken a decision. We'll stand by that. Maybe it's wrong, completely wrong. We'll discuss internally. But if a decision has been taken, we will stand by the decision of the group. That is what, So I think with this, it will be nice if you can show
I'll show you. I'll just show them, the students or the participants. Before that, I have a question to ask you, because what you have said, I cannot resist myself asking this question. That you said that from 1999, from a square feet of 250 square feet only in a garage space, and today you have got a 40,000 square feet, wherein you have centered around certain philosophies, principles, as you said, right? Now, during this journey, you might have faced, as you said, so many problems, right? Now, many times might have felt that, well, I should have gone back to the old days, joining an organization, right? Probably in two minds, whether to stay with the business or to leave the business, right? I think it has happened with you many times, has it or not?
Actually, no. The day I left BOC, okay, my mind was set that we are going to do it. We are going to do it. Unless that confidence is inside you, it would be very difficult. You cannot have both your feet on two different boats. If it doesn't work, I will go back to job. Yes, I know there's an exit policy, and I'm going to discuss maybe later on that there is an exit policy that you have to keep in mind. It's not that everyone's going to be successful. So maybe after 6 months, we were lucky. After 6 months, maybe we could have gone back to our job. So 1 year. Look, I don't come from a wealthy family of, where with lots of ancestral property that I don't need to work for the rest of my life and my life would be taken care of. No, It's not that. We had to earn our livings, right? So maybe I could have continued for a max 1 year, max 6 months to a year. After that, I would have had to go back to jobs. So there has to be an exit policy for the individual when he or she is leaving a job and getting into business. But on those 6 months or to a year, you're not going to look back every day and you're not going to say, oh, I made a mistake. You never made a mistake. What you did was the best thing that could have happened to you. You are doing as an entrepreneur, that's the best thing that can happen to you. And you are confident and you're going to do it.
Okay. Now, okay. Now, I'll show this. I show the video first of all, which you have the PPT presentation which you have given to us. Okay.
Thank you.
And then again, whatever points you have to say, I'll definitely look into it. Okay. Just for a second. Then we will again further carry on with the discussion, right?
Thank you. So, I've been talking about FITech.
Yeah, meanwhile, there's as you said, right, it's already there. I think, can you see it? Is it visible to you?
Yeah. Can you make it full screen?
Yeah, and I'm doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So as you can see, this is our head office in New Jersey, 333 Thornell. So this is our office. So if you can go to the second page, please.
Yeah, sure. Please guide me.
FITech is a fintech company, financial technology. So we have these are some of the things that were already discussed. So if you see, in North America, we are stationed in North America and in India. India is a development center. Everything is being done in India. We don't have any clients in India. All our clients are either in Europe or in North America. There are next slide, please.
Yeah. Yes.
So essentially, we have 4 verticals in the company. The first one that you see on the left panel is called Trust Portal Wealth Management. So that's something that is being led by our CEO Subir Chatterjee. He directly looks into this vertical. That is for the family office space. So we have about 150 banks who are using our application. So as I was saying, we started with Northern Trust, so that has grown over time, and it's our product. Banks have been using this for their internal accounting purposes for trust. Essentially, it is trust banks. So in US, what happens is, if you are a wealthy individual, you put your money in a trust bank. Unlike in India, although you can form a trust, but that money is put in the commercial banks. But in USA, there are certain restrictions. You cannot put that money in a normal commercial bank like a Citibank or Chase Manhattan Bank. You have to put that money in specified banks. They are called trust banks, and that money can be invested with certain rules and regulations surrounding them. So the accounting is something like what we have done is, in normal sense, you will see you all must have heard of a system called Tally, which is very common. Tally is an accounting platform that people use. So we have yet another product called Wealth Management or Trust Portal, which is on the wealth management side. So that's another sort of an application like Tally, which banks are using. Then the second from the left is HedgeTech. This is the vertical that I lead. So we've got a team here, and we've got a team in New York and New Jersey. So essentially, this is a partnership and investor accounting system. So again, after leaving BOC when we started, and again, it's interesting because I come from a finance background. Mm-hmm. So the first question, again, when we started this, I always asked, what am I going to do in a software company? Believe me, other than writing some Word documents, and those days actually people remember Lotus 123 was the thing.
Yes.
So I used to work on Lotus 123. Then Excel was just coming in. So those were the things that had worked in the corporate world. What would I do in a software company, in a startup software company, where the individuals working there would always say, you don't know anything? That was always behind my mind. But thankfully, we've grown, and this is a product line that I've started. Actually, we work with EY, Ernst & Young, from the Los Angeles practice. I was there for about 2 years. So we started this vertical, hedge tech. This actually does hedge fund allocations, and we have many clients, many renowned clients using our application. I'll go through the client list later on. And then on the right-hand side, you see Rocket Solutions. So this is a company that we acquired from the Rockefellers in 2008. So again, Rockefellers, they were having their operations, and they it's a software come business entity. So that's a company that they were selling out, and we acquired that company. All these years, it has been an organic growth other than this acquisition of Rocket Solutions. And the next one is First State Trust Company, which you see on the right-hand side. This has also been an inorganic growth. We purchased this in 2008 from Citibank because of the downturn at that point in time, when the economy is falling. And Citibank was selling some of their assets, so we bought this company from them, First State. The next slide.
Yeah, just.
If you see 20 years of growth, if you see on the right, 1999, we started our journey. Then it was Northern Trust. And slowly you can see that how we've grown in a period of time. And then it has been mainly organic growth. We've grown. One or two companies, there have been two acquisitions, essentially Rockefeller's company, and of course, that you can see, actually, Rockefeller actually was 2016, if you see, and 2008 was FSTC that we had purchased.
Right.
So if you go to the next page.
Yeah, surely.
Just a quick glance of some of the clients that we work with. Citibank uses our product, JP Morgan Chase, Wellington, Brown Brothers, Northern Trust. And you can see these are mega big clients, just HSBC, Rockefellers, NetBank, ENY, State Street. So some of these are client of ours, and we've grown over a period in time. So that is pretty much it. I don't want to spend much time on FiTech. It's not a marketing document. So maybe, Dr. Bhattacharya, you can close this, and I'll just like to continue on this.
I mean, when we see this, I have got it's again my inquisitiveness which would like to ask you, of course. Am I visible to you?
Yeah. You can.
You see, you are basically into an Indian accounting system. Right now, what you are doing is totally into an US accounting system, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, this transgression over a period of time, how do you think? I mean, is it possible to do it easily, or it takes a lot of time or energy, or the passion? Again, as I told you, I'll ask you rather.
Very good. See, as an accountant, it's a good question that you asked. As an accountant, we've never learned what how hedge funds work. So when Can you see me, or this is getting stuck?
Yeah.
Hello?
I can see you. I can see you. Yes, I can see you.
Okay. No, but I'm seeing there's a delay in.
No, it's okay. I can see you. I can hear you also as well. You're audible also as well, visible as well. You can carry on, please.
Okay. It is something that we have learned. Of course, being an accountant, it has helped me a lot. But we have a business team. The way the company is structured is we have about 25% people from the business team. So there are about 13, 14 qualified accountants who are working with me, chartered accountants. And then, we have the software developers also. So essentially, what happens is the way that we do this is we try and understand the business logic from these people. The accountants understand, these are the business analysts. Then we get it coded by our development team. And finally, we get it tested. And finally, when everything is done, it goes out. Are you seeing me okay, or this
is? I can see you. I can see you. Am I visible to you?
Yeah. Are you sharing your screen, or
no?
Maybe you stop.
I've stopped sharing the screen. I can see you very clearly.
Okay. No, I think you want to. Okay, you're still sharing your screen, right? So maybe. Yeah. This is okay
now. Is it okay now?
Yeah. So again, so this is how, that we work. And so as I was saying, all these years, so what people have to do is, and again, as I was saying, growth and acquisitions is something, we've actually grown in an organic way until we came across two acquisitions. But do we want to do an acquisition again? I don't know. We want to grow organically, and that's been our motto. But again, if certain situations come, if certain opportunities come, we'll be more than happy to, uh, do an inorganic or, get an acquisition done. And
in this line, a question again is coming into our mind. 2008-9, particularly 2009, we saw a huge slump in the US market.
Right.
Okay. And I saw when you showed that slide that in 2008 you acquired that fast track, right? So, after 1 year of acquiring that, it was a slump. How did you manage it as an entrepreneur?
That's a good question. Very good question. It was very difficult. Believe me, it was very difficult. Like in COVID-19, like 2020 was a bad year.
Yes.
So everyone is going through a downturn. So what we did was, look, if you say we are insulated from this problem, I'll not be speaking the correct thing. We are not insulated. Everybody has taken a hit. So what we've done is we've sat with our employees, everyone, all stakeholders, and we've said to them that, look, this is the situation, ground reality is this, and everybody has been very cooperative. You see, all these years, I don't think more than 10 or 15 people actually have left us. We have 160 people here in Calcutta and about 190 people in the US, spread over multiple locations. So we are 350 people. I think about 15 to 20 people might have left in the last 20 years. So whoever comes in FiTech has been like it's been a bondage. Now, to address your specific question, how did we do this? You can understand it's a big hit. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
It has been quite a challenge for us. We are still facing the challenge. We are not out of the woods yet. The market has yet to pick up. Because see, what happens is, we work especially on the hedge funds and on the trust business. But thankfully, the hedge funds and the trust business has not been impacted that much. But again, people are taking the plea that, your fees are going to go down. If we were, let's say, getting paid of $100 as of 2018 or 2019, in 2020, they are coming and say, I'll pay you $60, I'll pay you $70 for the same kind of licensing fees that we charge to our clients. And when we say, why are you doing this? He said, no, I'm being hit by all these external factors, as you know, so you have to share the burden. So those are things which are always there, and then we are trying to manage the expectations of every stakeholder in this process. It's quite difficult.
Okay. So the next question which comes into mind again is, how do you evaluate yourself as an entrepreneur? Starting from 1999 to 2021.
See, I was lucky because I tied up with this gentleman from the US. So he came. He said, let's start it. I think I would give one credit to myself. He, of course, was a guiding factor for me. He said, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But then right from day one, we had two verticals, the hedge tech vertical and the trust right vertical. And he looked after one vertical. And always he said, you look after this vertical, do it yourself. If it doesn't work, and there have been a lot of downturns, believe me, for the first couple of years, we didn't have any business on this hedge tech vertical. And I was very frustrated, of course, as you can understand. Everybody was going to get frustrated.
Of course, yes, absolutely.
Things were not working, and the trust portal business was going. So I was pretty much with my team, I was just there without any end result. It happens.
Right.
But slowly we picked it up. So, and again, so this vertical started picking up as the years rolled by. And then, of course, then we had yet another investor coming in a big time investor. He joined us in 2001, 2002. What happened was, and this is where I wanted to just stress, because what happens is, when you do business, you start a business, right? After a certain time, you realize that you need deep pockets.
Right.
It's very difficult
Right.
to continue to sustain this business, as you heard from me that for the hedge fund business, we didn't have business for the first couple of years.
Right.
So it became quite a challenge as to how to overcome this. We did this out of our funding. We did this. We did not take money from anyone. But when we went to ENY, they told us literally that you guys are working out of a garage.
Okay.
We need a big name to yourself.
Okay.
So that's why, we had yet another person who joined us and said, okay, fair enough. I give my name to you guys.
Okay.
So
Now,
that always, helps in later life. But again, that's not a key factor, I would think. It's just that when you're playing in big stakes, you need a person with a deep pocket.
some
Just to
backup,
show
some backup.
that these guys are not going to run away. Yes, some backup.
Right. Some assurance somewhere down the line, right?
Absolutely.
For our students, of course, I am not from the finance market area. Okay.
Right.
You are saying hedge funds. Okay. Now, can you just explain a little bit about this particular topic or area? Little bit. How do you work on that? Or what the students should be doing it, if and at all they want to go for it in India, particularly as an entrepreneur.
Right. So hedge funds are just like partnerships. So what happens is, what is it that we do on the hedge fund side? So essentially, I don't know, is everyone from the finance background here?
No,
Or
there are students from marketing, finance, and other areas, operations also as well. So they're multidisciplinary students.
Okay.
Who go in second year, who go for these different areas. Okay.
Okay.
So those who want to go for finance, they can have an idea. In fact, if they want to be an entrepreneur tomorrow, okay, they can think about it. Okay.
Fair enough. See, what happens is, in a hedge fund, essentially, the way that there are two things that happens in a hedge fund. One is, of course, a hedge fund has a flexibility to invest or make any type of investments anywhere. So we don't get into the investment side. That's their portfolio side. So if I'm buying stocks or something, I can buy Japanese yen in the morning and sell in the US market. Buy that trading, we are not doing. That's a trading desk.
Right.
What happens is, so we are not into the trading desk. What happens is, once these transactions are entered into by these hedge fund managers, hedge fund traders, not managers, hedge fund traders, there's a lot of accounting that has to happen. Now, what's a hedge fund? Hedge fund is basically a partnership. So you, me, Mr. Bhattaji, you, me, and some of us can form a partnership, right? Let's say 5 of us. And these have to be usually high net worth individual. Previously, there used to be a mark, like you have to at least have $1 million or something. Now, of course, that that floor is not there. But essentially, you would consider hedge fund people, investors, to be high net worth individuals. So once they come in, they can make these investments. So, the general partner usually used to get a 20% incentive. That's pretty high, right? 20% incentive in United States for the profits that you get. So I am assuring you, if the bank is giving you, let's say, a 3%, let's assume a 3% interest rate, right? So you have $1 million. So you have an option of putting that money in a bank for 3%, or going into those fixed income bearing securities, maybe 3.25%, or going into a hedge fund who will promise you 6%.
Right.
Of course, there is a risk. Now, what the hedge fund manager is doing is, and this is where, so like George Soros, I think everyone's heard,
Yes.
he's one of the biggest hedge fund managers.
Yes.
So he's got a huge hedge fund. So he doesn't own that entire money that he's investing in these different companies. So you see that Soros is investing into that. It's not Soros's own money. It is investors' money. Soros is the general partner there. So let's say 5 of us have invested 1 million. So Soros, if he's the general partner, he might have invested $2 million. So 5 plus 2, 7 million. So Soros has $7 million with which he's playing in the market. Okay, so he buys different things.
Right.
Now, there are all these rules and regulations that people want to do. So one hedge fund can, invest in, let's say, an oil field.
Okay.
Now, what happens is out of these 5 partners, this is very important. I think this is a concept that maybe everyone, I don't know, I think it's important for everyone to know a concept called side pockets. So what happens is in a hedge fund is just like a partnership, right? So all 5 of us, assume, have given $1 million. So
Right.
in normal circumstances, if a profit comes in, we should have shared our profit as 20% for every partner,
Right.
right? Now
Right.
what happens is out of that 1 million, let's say we create a side pocket, meaning a side pocket is essentially a partnership inside a partnership. So
Okay.
what we do is, and this is very, very common. So if you go to the United States, if you go to Europe and you're working with a hedge fund, the first concept that people have to understand is what is a side pocket.
Okay.
Side pocket is essentially out of that 1 million in the liquid class, there is different class. In that liquid class,
Right.
I'm taking away $200,000, let's say, from the liquid class and creating a side pocket where out of the 5 partners, only 3 partners will be members.
Okay.
Okay, so 3 partners. Remaining two partners have said, I do not want to be part of this side pocket 1.
Okay.
Okay, so these 3 partners one partner may have given 100,000, another may have given 150,000, another may have given 200,000. So the
Right.
ratios are different in that
Right.
individual side pocket.
Right.
So with that side pocket, the general partner can go and buy a oil future,
Okay.
or let's say he can go and buy an oil field, or he can buy a house, right?
Okay.
Or buy a floor. But is the hedge fund owning that? Yes and no. Yes, because it's the name of the hedge fund, but it's not that every investor who is invested with this hedge fund is having a share in that property. Only those 3 investors are actually having a share in that property.
Okay.
That
Okay.
is called a side pocket.
Okay.
So individual side pockets will have different incentive fee rates, different management fee rates, different ways. And when you do all these different strategies, like you buy shares, whatever, you form these different side pockets, and these individual strategies are controlled by these individual side pockets. So a general partner might have 100 different side pockets, so he's taking 100 different strategies in the market.
Okay. So it's like, don't put all eggs in the same basket like that, right? A concept like that, right?
Yes. I don't know how clear I am with the side pocket concept, but this is in very general terms. I try to be as general as possible. So
very
you have
clear,
100
very
different strategies.
lucidly explained by you. Absolutely. It was very, but there's also a risk involved into it, as you said, right?
Absolutely. That's why you are getting 6%, and
Right.
you may not want to get 6%. So,
Okay. Shurjit, I have the last question with me to you. What will the message to our generation Z as an entrepreneur? Right. You've seen the world. You've seen.
I'll tell you something. Initially, if you think, this is again my personal thought. Right after college, if you thought that, you will go and do business, it's going to be difficult. You have to have some years of professional experience. I'll tell you why. You have to know how the industry works. You have to know how the corporate world works. Yes, you can do on day 1. If you've got a good project, if you know you are going to be successful, then go for it. But whatever, please listen to your conscience. Please apply your mind. Listen to your conscience. Do not do not just start listening to others. Your friends are telling you, I know there's going to be a lot of pressure from your family, from your friends, from your seniors saying, do this, do this, do this, do this. It's only you. It's your life. You will have to take your independent decision. No one's going to be with you for the rest of your life. You will have to take your decision, and you can only take the decision if you feel confident. So apply your brains, See, as I said, apply strategies, be analytical, and see that in future, this is a market that I should go into. Even if you have to, assume you want to go into software, right? Why don't you, or maybe I'll just say, if you want to open up any educational institution, since we are in this educational institution, and again, I'm not saying that somebody needs to be your competitor for Calcutta Business School, but again, if you want to open up an education institution, I should not be joining a finance company for a couple of years and then thinking about coming into an education institution and starting a business around that. I should be associated with an education institution. I should understand how this works. I should gain some experience, and then I should go for it. So from day one, my mind should be set that what do I want to do at the age of 25? What do I want to do at the age of 35, 45, and 60 years? So you have to see where do you, and plot them in a graph and say, okay, this is what I want to be at the age of 60 years. Yes. But there's always a chance that you will succeed.
Okay, now as an entrepreneur, I mean, how much successful you think about yourself? I mean, your life's journey.
I'm still fighting. No, I'm still fighting.
No,
it's a fight. I'll be happy that day. I'll be happy. We'll be happy. Nobody is becoming the Ambanis or the Tatas of the world. So it's a small way, but we are still struggling. We are still fighting. So it's a fight. But my only message to the young friends, young colleagues are, keep your eyes and ears open. And, on the education front, it's a Calcutta Business School. I've been hearing a lot of good things. Keep your eyes and ears open. This is a wonderful experience. And later on, in your professional world, see how much of it can be applied and be the best professional. Come up with a strategy that the corporate world, your bosses, as I said, you're not going to get the best bosses in your life. You're going to have very difficult bosses. I had very difficult bosses. Sometimes I had very good bosses. So it's not going to be a bed of roses for the rest of your life. Fight it out. But believe me, if you strategize well, everyone is going to succeed. Why not? And if you want to start a business, the best thing is, if you can provide job opportunities to others, that's the best thing. Even if you can provide job opportunities to 2 people, you have done a great thing. You don't need a whole lot of people, even 2 people, you're working with them. That's huge.
Okay. So Rajitda, I think we have almost come to the end of the session, right? We have traversed a long way since you're, joining organization, moving out, coming out of this place, right? Taking up this institute, the organization, doing so many things in your life, right? From a small organization to a big organization right now, that you have got so many people with you. Do you have do you lament for anything at this part of your life? A very, very, very candid question to you, if you don't mind. Last question to you.
Lament? No.
Nothing.
I
Nothing
think, no. I think, look, I've been lucky. I will say I was lucky. Lament, of course. I did not. Maybe I should have pursued some extracurricular activities. I know your Mrs. Bhattacharya here, and some of them have a lot of these extracurricular activities into singing and lots of other things. I don't have all this. So that's something, socially, I don't know how much I'm acceptable because I don't have those extracurricular activities. I'm not into singing. I'm not into music and whatever.
Hopefully. But we need some audience also. We need people also to appreciate,
So that's where I lament. Yes, I can assure everyone one thing: next life, I'm going to make it up. Okay, I will not let it go.
See, it's not too late. Even you can try out now also as well. You can, the way we have been brought up in those days, you can do it right now also as well. We have got some questions from our students. Okay, the question which they have raised is, I just put it, sir, even having a great idea or knowledge, the problem is funds and capital. Any suggestion over how to raise funds?
Right.
As I asked you.
Okay. See, that's a big question. People will say, first of all, you can start your business with your own savings, borrowing from friends and families. That's one. That's the first thing that people will say. Second thing I would think is crowdfunding, right? So post the business idea, return, projections, marketing ideas, crowdfunding. People will get interested, and then they'll give a detail and they go for those road shows. Angel investors is something that, where most high net worth individuals, if you can get hold of a high net worth individual who believes in you at an early stage investment, but again, investment capacity is not that much, then you can go for a venture capital. And again, these are just, some of the thought process that's coming to my mind. Venture capital is something, but again, I would not advise you to go to a venture capital. They are like pretty much hawks in the market. They'll eat you away. They will always understand highest, not higher, highest returns. And after some times when they see that the business is stabilized, they'll just take you out. So you are just going to be nobody. Usually, that's my thought process. And of course, there is Government of India Mudra, I think, is something that Government of India is proposing, where you can get loans up to a certain amount. I'm not sure the amount, but there is something. But on the whole, if I was to consider myself, let's assume I'm 24 years old, 23, 25. Let's say I'm less than 25 years old, right? I don't come from a huge wealthy family of my parents taking care of for the rest of my life. There's not a huge ancestral property. I have to fight it out. What's the best way? First and foremost, I would think, what am I going to do? I'll not open up an industry. I cannot. I don't have the finance. I'll go into something which is capital less expensive. There is less of capital utilization. I don't need so much of capital. I have to find out. Then I have to, nowadays, there has to be a synergy. You cannot do business on your own. You cannot just do it. If you're thinking that you're going to do everything on your own, those days are gone. There has to be synergy. And as I said, you have to tie up with the right individuals for doing the business. And for doing this, you have to think, who is it that can bring value on the table? Somebody with deep pockets. And we have been discussing on finance, but finance will come, believe me, finance will come if you can get hold of a good idea. Idea is something, once you get a good idea, financiers are there, they'll go after you, but you have to come up with the idea. And for bringing an idea, it just cannot, that I'll get up in the morning and a new idea has come into my mind. It's not going to work like this. You have to have a group of people, not, I'm just saying school friends or college friends, relatives, but associates, acquaintances. Reach out to people, reach out, try and get ideas as much as possible. Communicate with people, communicate with friends, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in Calcutta. You nowadays with this internet and everything, you can reach out to somebody in California, somebody in Iceland, somebody in Australia. Reach out to them, think of ideas, and that's the only way, because we are constrained with finances, right? We will not be able to invest a huge amount of money. We are always scared. What happens if I lose? What happens if I lose? But with smaller amounts, if you have a good idea, you are going to succeed.
Okay, our question in this regard, Sujit, is that, the student is asking again, because he wants to be an entrepreneur probably, and he was in that sense. He says, what are the key points one looks into business ideas before investing as a venture capitalist or say a crowdfunding person? Okay, like what are the key points which they look into?
First of all, your background. So the individual who's thinking of doing a business, he or she has to have a good background. Now, if you are thinking of doing it yourself alone, it's very difficult to create a strong background. So you have to have 2 or 3 people, whatever, X number of people, to say these are my CV. So your CV has to be strong, because if a venture capitalist comes to you, why would he or she invest in somebody when he knows, or he doesn't know actually, whether he'll get back his money? So you have to give him that confidence that, look, you invest in me, I'm going to give it back to you. So that confidence building has to be there.
Okay.
So what? So
Yeah, yeah, please,
that is
please.
key. That is key.
I think we have come to the end of this session, a wonderful session, wherein we have discussed so many points. Of course, we have shared your ideas, your views, your whatever. We have come to know so many things. It will enrich me also as well when I go to the classroom, teach them. Okay, and as you said, that we will meet sometime and I'll discuss with you much more, right? Whenever I get some time, right? And I think my students also have learned so many things out of this discussion which we had today in the evening. I thank uh, Mr. Surajit Banerjee, alias Surajit, as I call him right now. Okay, when I spoke to you right now, right, for coming to this place on this platform and sharing his views on this topic as the entrepreneurship guide to overcoming fear and getting started for a new business. Right. I thank you all for being present here. Thanks to all of you. Good night. I think we should leave. Thank you, Shurajit, once again to you and to family. Be safe, be healthy.
Thank you. Thanks a
Thank
lot for accepting our invitation and talking to our students.
Yeah, madam is there. Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Bhattacharya.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya. Thank you.
So we leave now.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch with you. We'll leave now. Okay, bye.